Hello guys, it is Gate of Theories here, and before we go any further, there is going to be major spoilers for the most recent episode of Riverdale, so you have been warned. Anyway, so what happened was something huge. We finally found out that Jughead died. Betty killed Jughead because of the serial killer gene that she has inside of her that Donna decided to trigger, and she ended up killing Jughead in a wood. And of course, that's what lots of us were thinking were going to happen because of the flash forward scene that happened in episode 9, Tangerine. But there is something a bit strange about this because I didn't actually expect they'd actually killed the character Jughead because, you know, everyone loves the character Jughead. He is the most popular character off Riverdale. He's played by Cole Sprouse. Why would they actually want to kill their most popular character? Like, it doesn't sound like a very wise move to actually kill their most popular character. And then I started thinking, actually, this is the show Riverdale. What am I on about? Of course they haven't killed Jughead, because they love to mess with our minds and take everything that we think we know, turn it on its side and say, actually, you know nothing about this. So I started to think, actually, is Jughead really dead? And then all these thoughts started to come into my head about how he couldn't actually be dead, and then I came to one big conclusion. Maybe Jughead faked his own death. So let's get into this theory about why maybe Jughead might have faked his death and how. So the most recent episode that we've had is called The Ideas of March, and it shows at the end Jughead being dead, wanting to make us believe that he is actually dead. However, the entire episode takes place across a whole week, with the beginning of the week starting with Jughead finding out that he only has 5 days till Friday to begin and write an entire Baxter Brothers novel. So, Betty and Jughead decide to write it as a thriller of Stonewall Prep, basically showing all the events that have happened at the school throughout Season 4 ever since Moose joined. He reads a new part of the book every day to his fellow pupils, however, they start to gang up on him, telling him he committed plagiarism and stealing his laptop and other things to basically make him look really bad, till soon he is about to be expelled from school. However, Jughead ends up resigning as he knows the force is way too strong at Stonewall for him to defeat. Now, Brett tries to blackmail Jughead by saying he has a tape of Jughead and Betty having sex and that it will ruin Betty, so he's being blackmailed, and basically he just decides to resign because he realises he's going to be defeated. Now, Jughead storms out with FP saying, "What happened? You could have easily taken them," but Jughead responds with basically saying, "You don't know these people, this has been fixed right from the beginning, there's no way I was going to win this today." And that line today sort of got me wondering, maybe there's more to this story than we think. Maybe Jughead actually has a plan to get revenge on these people. Then, later on, Jughead and Betty are packing his things and Brett and Donna invite them to a party. Once they've gone, Jughead says to Betty, "You trust me, right? I have a plan, but first I need to take care of Brett and then I will tell you everything. It's all going to be okay, I promise." Jughead then goes to get his serpent gear back on and takes Brett with him out into the forest. Now, we're not sure what happens between Brett and Jughead in the forest, but we do know what happens between Donna and Betty, or most of what happens. Donna and Betty go into the woods and Betty says, "We're going to reveal every single secret you have, and we're not scared of your blackmail, as I'm the daughter of the Black Hood, so you're going to have to do a lot more than blackmailing us of a tape." Donna then responds with, "I've been doing some research myself, and I found the word that will make you kill all of your closest family and friends." And then, of course, we don't actually see what happens. All we see is Brett and Donna come out of the forest, Archie and Veronica going into it, and then finding Jughead supposedly dead on the floor with Betty holding a stone in her hand. And of course, this is all meant to make the audience believe that Jughead is dead and that Betty killed him. However, if we go back to before, Jughead was talking about his plan to Betty, telling Betty to trust him, so clearly something is going to go down, but we don't know what it is yet, as Brett came out of the forest absolutely fine. However, we know Jughead wouldn't just give up easily and let Betty kill him, as this is Jughead Jones, who's a serpent. And we know when serpents have a plan to get revenge, they are very cunning. Just look at some of Cheryl and Tony's plans that they've had already this season. And there's one other thing pointing towards the fact that Jughead can't be dead. From right at the end of Season 3, we've been getting loads of flash-forward scenes to this exact time in the season, including the scene where it looks like Betty kills Jughead with a rock, which is the scene that we had last episode. We've had loads of them, and this most recent episode proves that these scenes are definitely real and will be shown again later on in the season, as we've already seen the Betty killing Jughead scene before, back in episode 9 of season 4. However, we haven't seen any of the other scenes yet play out in chronological order, as in the story they haven't happened yet. Stuff like the searching for Jughead in the woods scene, and the fire scene from the end of season 3, which will most likely happen in the next episode. But there's one scene from these flash forward scenes that is slightly different from the rest of them. And this is a scene that was only just recently shown, and it shows Betty and Archie together in Pops, and Betty being upset, and she says, "How long will I have to wait for Jughead to come back?" So clearly, Jughead is still secretly alive and is just trying to return. And I know Riverdale have tried to head into the magic area of things, such as with the Gargoyle King, but come on, they're not going to go as far as to bring someone back to life, as it wouldn't fit with the overall context of the show. So instead, Jughead must be alive, and clearly Betty and Archie and Veronica are all waiting for him to return. And we know this scene is going to happen in the future, as we haven't seen it yet. And it shows us that Jughead is alive and is going to return to Betty, but clearly it might take him a while to get there. So, if this is true, then it means that Betty and Jughead faked the death, framing Betty for Jughead's death. Now, Donna may have hypnotized Betty, she probably did, but Betty managed to free Alice when she was hypnotized, so I'm sure Jughead knows about it and knows how to unfree someone when they have been hypnotized by Evelyn's words. So Jughead unfrees Betty, and they fake Jughead's death and can frame Betty, as people already know she's the daughter of the Black Hood, so it wouldn't be surprising if she did kill Jughead because of the serial killer gene, so they could easily frame that she did it and make it very believable. However, Jughead tells Betty the plan that he was on about before, just before they are about to fake his death, and then they wait till Veronica and Archie find them. Now, we know that the next scene is going to be the fire scene that we saw at the end of season 3, as they're covered in blood and are in a wood. In this scene, Betty is very serious, and this would give her a reason to be serious, the fact that Betty is hiding a massive secret, that Jughead is still alive, and they have to frame themselves to basically save Jughead in the long term. Then the future scenes go as planned. Donna and Brett say they saw Betty kill Jughead, and Jughead, who everyone thinks is dead, goes and hides, most likely in the bunker where Penelope Blossom is, as no one knows about that place, and it's in a wood, so it would be a lot easier to get to, if you get what I mean, to be hidden. Now, you might be asking, why would they go through with all of this, faking Jughead's death, framing themselves for the death of their best friend? You wouldn't go through with that. And the simple reason is, so they can expose Stonewall Prep. With them thinking that Jughead is dead, they can more easily go undercover, as they're a lot less worried about being found out. And if the authorities think a death took place at Stonewall's grounds, there's clearly going to be some investigations going around, as now there will have been 2 deaths at Stonewall, so they'll be forced to confess basically the truth about everything, which is what Betty and Jughead want. And of course, this is all for one pure reason, as the plot of Jughead's Baxter Brothers book. His book is about the journey at Stonewall, so easily writing a book where someone fakes their death to expose the truth about the school sounds like a perfect murder story that actually didn't happen. It's all to expose the school, which is what Jughead and Betty have wanted for ages now. So guys, that is the end of today's video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, make sure that you smash the like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, with your notifications on, so you get notified whenever we make any more Riverdale theories. Now, do you agree with me, guys? If you do, make sure you let me know in the comment section down below, and let us know all your thoughts about this theory, about whether you think Jughead is actually dead or whether you think he might have faked it. And if you have any other ideas about how he and Betty and everyone else could have gone around about how to fake his death, and if you don't believe that he did fake it and that you think he actually is dead, do you think it was Betty who definitely killed him? Make sure you leave all your thoughts down below. And also, do you want Jughead to die or not? Because personally, I really don't want him to die, so I'm really hoping something like this is true. But either way, guys, I've been here on Gate of Theories. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.